All right, we're talking about our lab on lumbar spine. Typically people talk about the core, working their core, activating their core, and they're thinking abs. You got your rectus abdominis, which goes down the middle, your six pack. Everybody likes to have a nice six pack, and somebody will even throw in some obliques there, do a little Russian twist or something like that to work the obliques. The thing that's important to know and understand about the core is your abs are not creators of power. They're not power muscles, they're stabilizers, and they transfer force. So most of your force and your strength and your power comes from your thighs, your hips. You look at a baseball pitcher. Most Major League Baseball pitchers have big thighs and big butts. And the reason that they can throw really good is their ability to transfer the force from their hips through their abs and explode out their arm. So what we want to be able to do is we want to develop abs and a core, not just the abdominal muscles, but think 360. We want to develop that to where you can activate that and stabilize. So it's just like if you've got a hammer and you're going to drive a nail into a board, would you rather have a rubber mallet driving that nail, or would you rather have a steel hammer? What happens is I generate force, and if I have a rubber mallet, that force is just lost. The rubber absorbs it, it dissipates it. If you have a steel hammer, you can drive that force from your arm through the hammer into the nail, into the board. So you want your core to be transfers of power. Energy, you want that energy to pass through your core. You don't want it to hit your core and just be lost and dissipate. So it's really important that whenever we do a core activity, that we activate all the way around. So you think of a wooden barrel. A wooden barrel has slats that are just a couple of inches wide. Those aren't very stable, but whenever you put those metal rings around that barrel, now you have 360-degree stability. And so that's what we're trying to develop with our core, to be able to stabilize our lumbar spine so that we can transfer force and power from our thighs, where it is generated, through our core and explode out. So today I'll show you exactly the proper way that we need to do a plank. So you see a lot of people plank. Just pop up and show us a general plank. Okay, so a lot of times you see people will arch their back. They'll just kind of hang out on their arms. They'll have their head in a bad position. So how we want to plank is we want to activate from our thighs first. So tighten your quads, squeeze your hamstrings, squeeze your glutes, and when you squeeze the glutes, you'll automatically see the back flat. So if you see somebody with an arched back, go ahead and arch down a little bit, and then you just have them activate and squeeze their glutes, you'll see that flatten out. And then tighten your abs, like you're going to pull your belly button up towards your spine, and then tighten your back muscles, strong through your shoulders. Now tuck your chin in just a little bit. People always like to look forward, but we want to have everything in line. So in this position, he has a nice, perfect plank. Muscles are activated in his thighs, his hips, his abs. Now what I tell him to do is just squeeze like you've got to go to the bathroom really bad. We've all been there. We know how that happens. So now what we're doing is we've got the barrel, and now we're putting the bottom on the barrel. Now what we're going to do, we're going to add a balloon. So the top of the barrel is your diaphragm. So if you have a balloon, you can blow up. You're now capping or topping the barrel. Okay, so we've got the 360. We've got the bottom on the barrel with the pubicoccygeal, the pelvic floor muscles, and now we add in the diaphragm. I think Jake's turning red. That's probably about my cue to let him go ahead and go back down. Okay, so that is the proper way to do a plank. You can do that on your side, you can do that a bridge on your back, you can do it a pro plank, you can do it in a push-up plank. You got to activate the 360, you want to squeeze and control the pelvis, you want to add the bottom of the barrel, and then you want to put the lid on the barrel. So that's core activation, and now we're going to do two special tests that both of these will be on the lab final. Go ahead and lay back. The first one is called a straight leg raise. We'll get around to this side of the table. And what we're doing here, so you've got nerves, just like we in other labs we've looked at the spine and how the nerves exit through the foramen of the stacked vertebrae. you've got a nerve, a really big nerve called the sciatic nerve that goes down through the hip, and then it splits out, and you've got multiple nerves that go towards the foot. So what we're going to do with the straight leg raise is I'm just going to keep his leg straight, and I'm going to raise his leg, just like the genius that named this test, a straight leg raise. And I'm just going to start coming up, and if he's got a compression on that nerve, typically at the vertebrae, possibly a disc, then he's going to start getting symptoms down his leg. He's going to get pain shooting down his leg, and it's going to reproduce his symptoms. So if I only come out to about 45 degrees and he starts getting symptoms, I've got a good idea he's got something compressing a nerve. If I get way up here and he goes, oh yeah, I feel that, and then I see ask him what's causing the pain, and he goes, yeah, my hamstrings are really tight. And in that position, I'm feeling a lot of resistance. So then, like any of our other tests, I just go to the other side, do the same thing. So if his right leg, if he got to here and it reproduced pain, but his left leg goes way up, then I know that it's probably a nerve issue. If both of them go about the same height and he gets the same amount of discomfort and in the back of his thigh, I'm saying it most likely his hamstrings are at issue there. So that's a straight leg raise. So now go ahead and sit up. So the next one's basically the same test, but now we're putting him in a different position, and we're still trying to see if we're going to get reproduction of pain in his back down his leg. So this is called a slump test. Again, some genius came up with that name because basically what you do is you have the subject slump, okay? Have them tuck their chin to their chest, and then what I'm going to do is just passively lift the leg, okay? And once I get to this position, I feel resistance. I'm probably thinking it's more of his hamstring. So if I've got a positive test, it's probably going to be somewhere down in here that he's going to get pain reproduction. And once I get to that point, then what I'm going to do is pull his foot up. I'm going to dorsiflex his foot. And if that lights him up, then I've got a positive test. Okay? And then I'm going to move to the other side, still keeping him in a slumped position. I'm going to raise up. I'll either feel hamstring tightness or he's going to stop me complaining of nerve pain. The other thing that you can add to this is you can, if you're not real sure, you can get them into this position, bring them up, and then I put more tension on the head here. Okay? I don't always do the head part. If I get a pretty positive sign here, then I'm not doing the chin tuck. So for your lab final, if you'll just do this part and then the foot dorsiflexion, make sure that they're staying down into chin tuck position, then everything's all good. So that's the end of the lab. So the two tests, we got the straight leg raise laying on their back, we got the slump test sitting up. Those should be the only two on your final. Those shouldn't be real hard to remember. So that's it for lab. Have a great day. Bye.